Hey, this is Eric, and this is a recording of a training I did called Accessibility Tools to Support All Learners. Please note this was recorded live at a conference with a room full of attendees, so it's a little more casual than many of my other videos, with questions and conversations included. But I hope you still find the content valuable. All right, so hey, welcome to our session on Google Tools to Support All Learners. I'm very excited to be learning with you here today. And I do say it that way. I'm not here today to present to you. I'm here today to learn with you. So I hope you've got questions, you've got comments, you've got suggestions. I want to pick up ideas from you as well as we go through this session. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive on into this. So one of the first things is I want to make sure everybody can get to the resources if you brought a device. If you didn't, no worries. But if you did, I would encourage you to go to the bit.ly link you see on the screen there, bit.ly/kurtz-support. That will take you to a Google document that looks like this. When you get in that Google document, that has all of the resources we're going to be exploring throughout the session. So this session is a session about tools to help support all learners. Now, I used to, way long ago when I was first doing the session, I think I called it like Google Tools for Special Education or something like that. And over time, I realized that was maybe too narrow of a title because the tools we're looking at, these are good for all learners. Everybody can benefit from assistive technology, accommodations, things like that. And so I would encourage you as we go through this to see even what tools may assist you. I use a lot of these tools myself, but think of your students as well and how these may help them. So the plan for this session is to try to get through as many of these tools as we can in the time. I guarantee you we will run out of time before we run out of tools. That's just going to happen. But so what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to pick examples from each of these different categories. I'll show you like some of my favorite tools for text to speech, speech to text, readability, reading comprehension, things like that, as we work down through the list. So we're going to start off with our first category of text to speech tools. So basically tools that will read text aloud for you or for your students. And there's a whole bunch of these we can explore. If you're following along in the agenda document, when you get down to page 2, I believe is where text to speech starts. There it is. And you can see there's a lot of options. So I'm just going to pick a couple of my favorites to give a shout out to. So one of the first ones that I'm going to mention is Read and Write. Read and Write is a Chrome extension, so you would have to install this. This is an installable tool, but it's free. The text-to-speech feature of it is totally free. Anybody can use this. And what it does is it gives you a toolbar that then can read things aloud anytime you pull up that toolbar. So let's say I'm a student and I'm coming to read this article from Dogo News about homework and tests stressing you out. Consider moving to Sweden. Okay, there you go. So let's say I wanted to read this article, but I might need a little assistance reading it. Well, if I have Read and Write installed, I can come up to my extension bar up in the top, give a click on Read and Write, and there it is. This little floating toolbar now appears, and I can use this button that looks like a play button, the little triangle button, to read text aloud. Let's try it out. Let's say we grab some text here, and then we click on the play button.
While an entire month free of homework or tests may sound too good to be true, that is precisely what the students at School in Boden, Sweden were treated to in April.
And pronounce that city way better than I would have. So that's pretty good. So easy to read any text that you come across online, but also it works inside of Google Documents as well. Not a lot of the text-to-speech tools do that as well. So if I'm in a document, I can click on it and I use the same toolbar. And this would be great maybe for a student to have their own writing read back to them so they can listen for errors or problems in there. Now we can also change the voice, by the way. There's a little 3 dots button on the far right. You can go into the settings and they've got loads of voices. There are so many voices here, and they're adding new ones all the time. But if I came in, maybe I'll switch over to Tom just as an example. I can also, in addition to changing the voice, I can also change the speed. I had that sped up pretty fast there. I had that going pretty quick when I did that. So let's try that now. And let's see, I think I've got Tom in there now. Yes, I do. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just go. We'll just click here and hit the play button.
George Washington were the first president of the United States. He was also the commander-in-chief of all American forces during the American Revolutionary War.
And you notice it read it exactly the way I had typed it. It even kind of mispronounced the word commander because I misspelled it. Well, that's good. That can really help students catch that. So again, yes, feel free to speed it up, slow it down, pick the voice that works for you. So that's one that I always love to give a shout out to. That's Read and Write. Another one, please, yes.
Will that work on iPads if you're running Chrome?
So because that is an extension, my quick answer is going to be no. It's not going to be for mobile. That's going to be something that you would install on a Chromebook, a Mac, or a PC, like a laptop, because that one, that is an extension. Having said that, Read and Write does have a mobile version. I can't demonstrate that right now. I don't have that installed. I do have my phone next to me. I really should have maybe just installed it on there to show, but heads up, they do have a mobile version. It has a lot of the same functionality, so I would say it'd be worth investigating that to see for mobile devices. Excellent. And please do exactly that. Any questions at any point, holler at me, or again, feel free to drop them into our Q&A. And there it is. So that's great. I appreciate you guys doing that. All right. How about another text-to-speech tool? Microsoft has Immersive Reader. Now, Immersive Reader is built into a lot of different products. It even is built into some extensions. And so, for example, there's an extension called Helper Bird, and I've got the Helper Bird extension installed here. And what I can do is I can come in and I can select text on this page, and then I can just right click, and from the Helper Bird extension I can choose View in Immersive Reader. Now again, there's lots of ways to get to Immersive Reader. Different tools have it built in. This is just one example, and again, it's free. I should say that everything I'm sharing today, these are all free tools. Some of them might have a paid version, but everything I'm showing you is something you can do for free. Now you may have to get your tech folks to, evaluate and approve things and all of that. I'm not saying that. You certainly need to always go through that process, but at least they're free. So let's say I try that. I select the text, I go to Helper Bird, and I go to View in Immersive Reader. And what it's going to do is grab that text for me and pull it into a page all by itself. But then I can click on the play button and it should start reading it. Let's try it out.
While an entire month free of homework or tests may sound too good to be true, that is precisely what the students...
And I can come down here and adjust the settings, male, female, speed, things like that. Now, the cool thing about Immersive Reader is it doesn't just do text-to-speech. It does other cool things too. So up here in the top right-hand corner, quick shout out to some of the neat things it does. There's a text preferences option where I can go up and I can change the text size. There's a option to increase or decrease the spacing. I can change the font. I can, of course, change the color scheme to whatever works best for me. In addition to those adjustments, there's a grammar options section where I can break the words into syllables. That's nice. I can also color code all of the parts of speech, and if I want to, I can even label them while I'm going through there. So really nice options there. We'll go ahead and turn those back off. And then lastly, it does also have a reading preferences section where I can turn on or off a picture dictionary, and I can also pick a language for translation if I do want to translate certain words. Maybe I speak Spanish first and foremost, and so maybe I'll turn that one on. So now I could come in, and if I click on a word, I'm going to get a picture for the word, and then I'm going to get a translation and of course a pronunciation of those as well.
Country.
Now, not every word is going to have an image. Some of them won't, but a lot of them will, depending upon, it's like mandatory didn't, but experiment did, so it's going to kind of depend. It also has a line focus feature, which is kind of cool. You can turn that on, whether it's a single line or multiple lines, and then you can move up and down a line at a time as you read. So there's a lot of really neat extra features inside of Immersive Reader than just text to speech. And again, that is, I'm running that through the helper bird extension, which this is again, all of these are here. Here's the read and write extension, and here is the helper bird extension that I was just demonstrating with that. Okay, let's keep going. If you happen to have a Chromebook, another option would be to just use the built-in accessibility feature in the Chromebook. So Chromebooks have something called select to speak. So in a Chromebook, I can go down to my system tray, go to my accessibility settings, and from my accessibility settings, I can turn on select to speak. Once I turn that on, it puts a little teeny speaker down in the bottom corner there. And so now I could simply come along, click on that, drag a box around whatever I'd like to hear, and
While an entire month free of homework or tests may sound too good to be
there
true,
it goes. And again, I can change the speed, I can jump forward and backwards, you can go into the settings and change the voice. So if you've got a Chromebook, you don't even need to install anything. You've got that built right in as well. And then I think the last thing I'm going to mention on this category would be Google Lens. So everything we've looked at so far works great if you are, using text that you can just easily select. You can grab, your mouse and select the text. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes text doesn't want to be selected. So for example, in this article, there was a graph that has text in the graph, but I can't grab the text. It's a picture of the text. It's not, I can't select it. It's not typed up. It's in an image. Well, Google has built a thing called Google Lens, which allows you to give it an image and then it can pull content from the image. And it's built into all kinds of things. So like if you're using Chrome, you can literally just right click on an image and say search with Google, and that will launch Google Lens. So now Google Lens pops up over here on the side and you can choose text. And then from text, you can come in and you can select any of the text that you want to select and then click listen.
the countries where kids do the most homework.
And
Ours.
there you go. And it's going to read text from a picture, which is great. And if we really want to get fancy, let me see if I can get really fancy with you guys here today. Google Lens also exists on mobile. So you can pull it up as part of Google Photos. It's built right into that. It's also a standalone app. Let's say I have a book here. I'm going to grab a textbook and I'll try to put this up on the screen so you guys can see this. There's my phone. So let's say I take a picture of my textbook here. So I come in, I go, okay, I need to take a picture of that. Boop. And now that I've taken a picture of that, let's say I come in now and I want to select some of the text. So I could go in, I'll zoom in a little bit here. I'll just grab it. We'll grab some text. I could grab some text there. Oh, there we go. There we go. And then after I grab it, I could hit listen. Let's try that out.
For example, the Most Chocolate Cake Company could rate a 5 on quality and 2 on selection, whereas the supermarket could rate 2 on quality.
And so there we go. Even things in the real world, I can just take a picture of them and then I can use Google Lens on my phone or mobile device to read it aloud. So there's a lot of options for text to speech. So that's the first one. We're going to go the other direction now. We're going to switch over to speech to text. But let's just pause there for a second. Any questions on what we saw when it comes to reading things aloud to students? Either read and write, the extension, or the Immersive Reader tool that's built into a lot of different ones. Chromebooks, select to speak, Google Lens. Questions, comments on that before we move on? Yeah.
I have a question about the Chromebook.
Yeah.
So where is that located?
Sure thing. Thanks for asking about that. So for clarification on the Chromebook, Chromebooks have accessibility tools built in. You don't have to install them, but to find them, yeah, sometimes that's a little challenging. So with me, when I go down to the tray, the little system tray down here in the bottom where the clock is, and I give a click, I see an accessibility menu. If you don't see that, you say, Erica, I clicked there and I didn't see that. Well, that is a setting too. You could have that turned on or off. So if you don't see the accessibility menu there, what you can do is click on the gear for your Chromebook settings, and then there's an accessibility section in here, right there. And the very first option is show accessibility options in quick settings. If that's turned on, then you don't have to dig into this every time. It's just going to be there in that bottom corner. So now if I come down, there it is, and I can just turn on any of these accessibility tools. We're not going to get to all of these today, but we will revisit. We will see more of these accessibility tools as we go. Yes. So does a tech person have to turn it on? So it'd probably be more the other direction. It's on by default as far as the accessibility tools. What they can do though is tech folks can go in and they can disable certain accessibility features. Like if there was one that a student didn't need, they can also flip the switch that I just showed you where we went in and I did this. This switch can be set by the Google administrators so that the students don't have to know to dig into there to turn on the show it in quick settings. So in the admin console, that can be turned on. That way you can just go in and be like, oh, it's already right there. And you can also force these to be on. In the Google admin console, you can say, I want select to speak to always be an option already turned on. And I want dictation to always be turned on, or whatever the case. You can do all of that in the admin console. Absolutely. Anything else on text to speech before we move on? Yes, over here.
Do these options work with PDFs that are loaded onto platforms?
So what about PDFs? So the short answer is yeah, but you might have to do a little creativity here. So for example, with Read and Write has the ability to read from PDFs as well, but it requires a second extension that goes along with it. So it's not just the Read and Write extension. And I think there it is, optional PDF reader. So I did include it. There it is. So here underneath Read and Write, you'll see they call it Orbit Note. That's the name of the extension, and I've got it installed. I just have it turned off at the moment, but it basically pairs with Read and Write, and yes, it will read PDFs aloud to you as well. Chrome is adding that in. Google has announced that. They promised it months ago. I'm still waiting to see it roll out, but yes, they're building that into the accessibility tools on the Chromebook as well. Great questions, everybody. Well, hey, let's keep going because, again, like I said, we will run out of tools before time. So I'll try to get through as many tools as we can. Let's go to our next category. Let's say now we want to do speech to text, meaning I want to speak and have my words typed up for me. So speech to text. Again, lots of options for this, and I'm just going to pick a couple because, we can't get through all of them. So one of the first ones I will show off is probably one most of you know about, but if not, let's make sure we do know, and that's Docs voice typing. If I'm inside of Google Docs, like my George Washington report here, and I wanted to type some more, but maybe I'm struggling as a typist, maybe I'm not the best speller, maybe I'm getting frustrated, maybe I injured my hand, who knows why? There could be a lot of reasons why. Well, all I need to do is go up to the Tools menu, and from the Tools menu, go down to Voice Typing. That's going to pop open a little little floating microphone there. I can click on that microphone, and let's try it out. Now that I have clicked on the microphone, anything I say will automatically be typed into the document, period. This is an excellent way for students to be able to get their ideas onto the page, period. Awesome. Wonderful. Now I might have to go in and clean up a few things like I didn't capitalize that correctly, but the idea is that rather than having a student get frustrated and take their long sentences and make them short and take their big words and make them small, let them get their ideas out and then they can go back and clean it up later. This is great. Now, I'm not saying don't have them learn to type, but let's keep that separate. Let's not have that keep them from being able to express themselves in the assignments that they need to do. So that's an option. That's one thing. And of course, there's lots of other things. You can change the language you're speaking in. There's lots of little, tricks to that as well. What I'm showing you right now is not an extension or anything like that. It's just built into Google Docs. It's called Tools and then Voice Typing. So for that, if you're in Google Docs, you've already got it. It's just there. That is part of the Google Docs program. It's under Tools. It's called Voice Typing. It used to only work in Chrome. Now it's also supported in Edge and Safari and other browsers as well. So that's really nice. So it also works in slides. So Docs, the voice typing also works in slides. So if you need to type in a slideshow, you can do the same. But what if not? What if you're not in a document? What if you're not in a slideshow? Those are the two places it works. There are other tools. So for example, there's an extension called Voice In. And Voice In basically does the exact same thing. You click the little microphone extension and you just talk. So if I was doing a Google form, perhaps. Let's say I've got this form and I want to type in the form, but again, I'm struggling as a typist. I can click where I want to type, and then because I've pre-installed all these extensions. Obviously, you would need to install the extensions, but I've got Voice In installed. So here's the little extension icon up in the top. Looks like a microphone. I can just click on that. Now that I have clicked on the extension, whoops, maybe not. Oh no, it didn't work for me. Hold on. Voice In, what are you doing? Hold on, let's try it again there. Now that I have typed, nope, it's not working at the moment. Okay, so we're not going to show you that one, and I'm not sure. I'll have to poke a stick at it and see. Apologies for that. It looks like at the moment it is not responding to me there, but that's the one I typically use if I'm trying to use speech to text and I'm not in a document. However, I will show you another one that I do believe will work, although you know what? Oh no, it was asking permission and I didn't see it was asking permission. There we go. Now that I have clicked on the extension, anything I say will automatically be typed into the form. You got to give it permission. Okay, that was my fault. Sorry, guys. My bad. I did not give it permission. I missed the little pop-up over there that was asking for the permission. So it does work. How about that? You just have to do it right. All right, excellent. The other thing, though, that I will show off is Chromebook dictation. So this is built right into Chromebooks. In the accessibility option, there's a dictation section. So if I come down here to accessibility, here's a dictation option. I can turn that on, and it puts a little microphone down there. Guess what? It's going to act exactly the same. It's going to do the exact same thing. So if I click here in the form and I click on the little microphone down here, now that I have clicked on the microphone, anything I say will automatically be typed into the form. And there you go. So again, so many ways to be able to get our speech into text, whatever we might be using. All right. Outside of that, bless you. Outside of that, I will give a quick shout out that Google also has things like live captions when you're in a slideshow or a Google Meet meeting where you can have whatever people are saying automatically typed up as captions. So that's a form of speech to text as well. All right, we're going to head into readability next, but let's again pause and we'll kind of see if we got any questions. So we just finished speech to text. Let me peek into our Q&A doc. Looks like we've addressed both of those. Anybody have any questions on what we just looked at here, whether it's Doc's voice typing, the Voice In extension, the Chromebook dictation tool, or such? Questions, comments? Good. All right, excellent. Well, next up, we've got readability. So what I mean by this is any tool that just makes it easier for a student or anybody to be able to read content that they come across. Now, there are just so many in this section. I really am just going to pick a couple, and the rest I'll just give a quick explanation for, but all of these are here in the agenda. So please do explore these. All the links are there. You can try all of these out. But this includes things like, picking good fonts when you are creating content. There's a Google font called Lexend. That's the one that I am using in our document here today. This is the Lexend font that was designed to help struggling readers. That's great. But there's also extensions like the Open Dyslexic extension, I can say that, or others that basically will change all the fonts on your web pages to the Open Dyslexic font or the Comic Sans font, which I know we give Comic Sans a hard time, but actually it's a good font for readability. Outside of that, there's so many tools here. How about Postlight Reader? Let's give a shout out to that one. Postlight Reader is an extension that cleans up a website by removing potentially distracting elements so a student can just focus on what they're trying to read. Kind of like what Immersive Reader did there, where it pulled out, the text. We saw that earlier. Postlight does a very similar thing. So let's say, again, I'm back on this Dogo News article, and let's say I want to read this article, but I don't want to have popular articles on the side. I don't want to have comments down at the bottom. I don't want to have all the rest of that stuff. Well, if I've got Postlight Reader installed, I just give a click on it, Give it a moment and it cleans up the page. It strips out everything except the core content. And all I have is just the article, and I can go down and read that, and I don't have to worry about any advertisements or comments or anything else. I can even go to the settings here if I want to change the size or the font face or the color scheme. So
Does that create a new website or link that you can put in Google Classroom?
So good question. It does not create a new link that could be shared out. This link has not changed. The only reason I'm seeing this is because I have Postlight installed. So for a student to see this, two options. One is either they would need to have Postlight Reader installed as well and just know, hey, anytime I want, I can hit that little rocket ship up there and that'll clean up my page. The other option is you could pretend to print your page. If you go Control P for print, and you could choose Save as PDF, and you could make a PDF version of it as well if you just wanted them to have a cleaned up version of it. That would be an option that you could do as well. Good question. Other readability tools. Well, it turns out Google in Chrome is adding something kind of like Postlight Reader right into the browser. It's called Reading Mode. Now, this has been rolling out for the last few months. You probably have it, but you might not. It may not have made it out to you yet. But basically, Reading Mode, it's a little button that I have up here in the top right that if I give a click on, what it does is it pops open a side panel over here that basically takes everything from the web page and makes a simplified, cleaned up version of it over here on the side. Now, if you don't see that, you might have to dig into your settings. I'm trying to remember where I've got it pinned, so it's easy for me to find. I might have to remind myself where that's at. It looks like it's all the way down under More Tools. So if you have a browser, if you have your device with you right now, and if you want to check, you can go to the three dots menu in the top right. You can go down to More Tools, and you might have Reading Mode. I don't know. If it hasn't rolled out, that's possible. But if you do have Reading Mode, that's where it's at. Once you turn it on the first time, though, what I like to do is I like to pin it. There's a little push pin icon up there. That way it leaves the icon for Reading Mode up in the top right. Then I don't have to hunt for it over and over and over again every time. So now anytime I want it, I just go boop, and there's Reading Mode. And basically what it does is it gives me this panel where I can go in and see the same content but cleaned up. So for example, I could pick, different fonts, whatever font works for me. I can change the font size, bigger or smaller. I can change the color scheme if it's easier for me to see light on dark, or whatever color scheme makes the most sense. I can change the spacing of the lines. I can change the spacing of the letters. They're also adding a text-to-speech option. It's starting to roll out too, where there'll be a little speaker icon to click, and it will read it aloud to you as well. So that's really nice. So Reading Mode is a great feature that's just built in, nothing to install, just a part of the Chrome browser. Anything else to say on readability tools? For the rest of these, I'll just give a quick shout out and you can explore them if you'd like to. There's loads of things like Reader View, Alpha Text, Line Height Adjuster. These are just tools that do, as you can imagine, changing the space between the lines or changing the background colors. So many possible ones. Then there's things like color overlay and AT bar. What these do is they put an opaque color over the web page. So for students who have a trouble with the high contrast between a white background and the black text, if you've ever had have a student take a colored transparency and put it on top of like their book when they're reading, that's what that's doing. It's cutting down on the high contrast. You can use things like color overlay or AT bar to replicate that on a website with colored overlays. So many cool ones. Visor allows you to darken your screen except for a bar that you drag up and down to be able to view what you're reading. High contrast also adjusts the contrast. Lots and lots of possibilities. Let's do this though. Let's also talk about what are some readability features inside of the Chromebook itself. So remember, we've been talking about Chromebooks and their accessibility tools. If I come down here to accessibility, there's a bunch of those as well. So for example, there's one called color inversion. Now here we'll go back to our article here. Color inversion is pretty severe, it basically flips all the colors on the page. So everything gets inverted. But again, that can certainly help. There's also color correction. That one is for users who have some color blindness. They can go in and pick what color scheme they can see best, and then it adjusts all the colors on the Chromebook to match that scheme. That's color correction. There's also magnifiers. Like I love the docked magnifier. This is great for readability. If you're struggling with being able to read something because of the size, if you click on the docked magnifier, what it does is it splits the screen in two. I can now have the bottom of the screen at the normal zoom where the top has been zoomed in. So I can very easily go along and see everything there. It's also nice when I'm doing trainings to be able to show people, like, down here in the bottom, there's the dictation button, there's the select to speak button, or up here in my, extensions, oh, there's, the voice in extension. So it's also nice just for being able to show things to people when you're doing a demonstration. I'll go ahead and turn that back off though now. All right. So there you go. Those are some readability tools. Let's pause there. I know I went through those really fast just because there's so many, but questions, comments on any of those? I don't see anything in the Q&A, Doc. Did anybody have a question or a comment about some of the readability tools we just saw? Good. All right. Let's keep going. Next up, reading comprehension. So what about tools that help a student understand? Now, they've read it, they've got the readability tools, they've read content. How about helping them understand what they've read? So there's a lot of things in this. There's things like Google Dictionary. This is an extension that basically, as long as you double click on a word, it'll pop up a pronunciation and a definition of that word, just to help a reader if they come across a word that they're not sure about. I believe I've got it installed. So if I came in here and I double clicked on a word, there we go. It's going to define the word broadcaster for me. Now, that's nice. But another cool thing is if you're using a Chromebook, it's actually built into Chromebooks, and they call it quick answers. Instead of double clicking, you right click on a word. And so if I am reading along and I right click on a word, it also defines it and of course gives me a pronunciation.
Broadcaster.
Now that does need to be turned on in your settings. It's in your search settings. It's called quick answers, but that's just built right into Chromebooks, which is nice. Now, in the past, when it comes to reading comprehension, I would have taken some time to talk about some of these other tools like Summary and Quillbot and Auto Highlight. I really don't talk much about them anymore because AI has really replaced a lot of these. These were the older tools, the older extensions that would summarize a web page or help, reword a web page or something that you're reading. Nowadays, with generative AI, that is so much more powerful than some of those. So let's pick up reading comprehension and other things inside of generative AI and talk about that very briefly. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a whole AI session. I've got a bunch of AI sessions over today and tomorrow, but let's just give a quick shout out to a little bit. So if you're using a tool like Google Gemini, that is an AI chat bot from Google, but of course there's others, ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever you might use, but I'll use Gemini for this example here. I've got Gemini pulled up over here on the side. This is an AI chat tool that you can chat with, and you can use it to help support your students. There's lots of ways we could do this. So for example, we might want to help with, taking content and making it appropriate, for all of our different levels of students. So I'm going to just copy a prompt I've already got set up. It's going to be way faster than me trying to retype this. So I'm just going to copy this prompt and I'm going to go over to Gemini. And basically what this prompt says is I'm going to be teaching science, grade 5, about food webs. And here's my standard. I would love it if you could create a choice board for me with 12 activities that kids can choose from, but I want to make sure that they cover all these different modalities. I want them to cover different levels of difficulty. I want to make sure there's something for every student there. So basically, I can go to Gemini or ChatGPT or whichever one you like to go to, and I can drop that in and say, can you create this for me? And it is now going to say, sure thing. And the AI is going to create choice board activities for me. And so we're getting, a food web fact sheet, a digital ecosystem diagram. We've got food web storytelling. We've got a field trip, we've got a news report, we've got a debate, and so all of these different ideas that students could pick from when they're showing, what they know about food webs or where they're learning about food webs. And that's just one quick example there where we can rely on AI as just a co-teacher. It's not replacing us at all. It's just bouncing ideas. It's brainstorming, like, hey, help me think of how could I best reach all of my students. Now, if you want any of the prompts that I'm using, they're all here. So if you go down to the section on generative AI, next to every one of these, you will see examples. You can click on those, and those will take you out to the prompts that I'm using as these examples. Because, for example, we could do something like releveling text. Maybe there's an article we want the students to read, but we want to give it to them at a different reading level. So I'll copy that as well. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste in this prompt here real quick. I've got a blurb on the Boston Tea Party. And let's say I take this blurb on the Boston Tea Party. It's about 4 paragraphs. And I say, hey, rewrite this in a simpler reading level. Keep all the same content. Just rephrase it in a way that's simpler and easier to understand. And now the AI is going to take that original content and create a new version of it that is a simplified version. Now, I could also say, put it at a certain grade level or put it at a certain, lexile level. I just said make it simpler in this example. And there it is. It has now created this simpler version. I can just come down and copy that and use that however I want. Or maybe I'm not trying to rewrite it. Maybe I just want support for that article. I could say something like, hey, can you take that original article and find 10 words that might be most challenging for a student, provide a bullet list of those 10 words along with definitions. And so, oh no, it just gave out on me there. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Hold on. There it is. Give it a moment to regenerate those. There, it's there. Okay, and now it's doing it. And so now it's picking out the keywords, and next to each one of them, it's putting in a quick definition. So now I can provide that to my students and say, while you read this article, here's some support for some words you may come across. This is scratching the surface of what you can do with AI. But those are just some quick ideas. We could also help with writing, generating writing prompts, main ideas, and things like that. Definitely check out the examples I've got there and maybe grab, come to some of the AI sessions I'm doing today and tomorrow to pick up more ideas on those. All right, we're getting down to about 10 minutes, 8 minutes, not a whole lot of time left. So we're going to have to move a little quicker, but let's pause again. Let me see, are there any questions? I don't see anything in the Q&A doc. Before I move into our next category, which is audio support, questions on anything so far? Questions, comments so far? All right. All right. Next category. What about audio support for our students? Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean here would be tools that let you record your voice and then put your voice into a document or Google Classroom or whatever the case to give personalized audio feedback to students. There's things like Mote, Beep, Read and Write has this built in as well. There's lots of tools out there that can do this. I'm going to demonstrate Beep real quick. It's unlimited. There's no limit other than how many minutes each recording can be. Basically, it's 3 minutes at a time. Let's say I came here and I wanted to give some feedback to my student, but instead of typing up the feedback, I want to use my own voice. I just want to record myself speaking to my student. So I could come in and perhaps, highlight a word that I want to leave some feedback on here. Hold on a second. Let me, oh, you know what? I might not be, make sure this is, yep. Looks like it's coming up okay. I don't know why it's not giving me my, yeah, let me reload the page. For whatever reason, it wasn't giving me my comment option on the side. I'm like, what's going on there? Sometimes you just got to reload the page to get things. So let me see if it's, no, something is, oh, no, there it is. For some reason, I'm not sure why it's popping up that way. You know what? It's probably one of my other extensions is fighting me. So hang on a second. I'm just going to use the Beep extension up here instead. And so basically what I can do, you can see it's recording at the moment. So I can be like, hey, whenever you see a red squiggly line underneath a word, you may want to check that for spelling errors. You've got several of those in the document here. And then I can hit save, and it's going to save that voice recording. And basically, it's going to make a link. I just need to put that link in here. I need to figure out which of my extensions at the moment. One of my extensions is blocking my comment button over here on the side. So that's okay. I'll check on that one later to see which one was which one was doing that. But basically, the idea is I could now leave feedback for my student. I'll just drop it in here. Whoops, sorry about that. Oh, I thought it must not have copied it. That's okay. But the beep extension under normal conditions, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. This is just a test. There we go. It will record your voice. And then again, let me just copy that. I must not have copied it. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. And then I could drop that link in. And if the student comes along and plays that link, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. This is just
There
a
you
go. Now, normally I drop that in the comments over there, but again, it looks like one of my extensions is perhaps blocking that at the moment. So a lot of great ways to be able to record your voice and just add that in as well as a way to give personalized feedback to a student. Next category in here, we're again barely going to touch on it, but just at least touch it. If you're interested in this in more depth, I'm doing a session at the end of the day tomorrow on Google Tools for English Language Learners. We'll do a lot more in that, but I do have a whole section here on translation tools to help support our learners as well. Just a quick preview of one thing we'll see in that. How about Google Translate? Google Translate exists in like 20 different formats. One of them is the Google Translate extension. So with that extension, I can come in and say, I want to tell it what language I speak. So I can right click on the extension, go into the options, and I can say, oh, I speak Spanish, and I want that to be my primary language. Now, once I do that, if I come here and I select any sentence in my document or in my, here, I'll refresh this so it knows that I've got it turned on there. There we go. If I come in and select, oh, nope, something is again blocking my extension from popping up. Oh, that's unfortunate. I wonder, oh, you know what? I have so many of these turned on. They may be getting in a fight with each other. Let me turn off a few others that I'm not using it. Usually I just turn them on and off as I go. And that could be probably the wiser thing to do at the moment is not to have everyone running at the same time while I'm doing this. So let's go ahead and let's see if that makes it happy. Yeah, that made it happy. So now if I come in and I select some text, whoop, there it is. There it goes. It pops up this little extension button. And if I click on that, it gives me a translation. It gives me the original English, and I can listen to it read aloud, but then it gives me a translation, in this case, into Spanish. So if it helped the student to be able to hear the original English, they could
And
do
that's
that.
because they have a very high stress
They
level.
could do that or the Spanish.
Y eso es porque tienen un nivel de estrés muy
Now, that's just one translation tool out of so many translation tools that are out there. We will do a deep dive into that in that session tomorrow. And we are down to our last few minutes here. So I'm just going to give a quick shout out to some other tools that we probably won't have time to demonstrate, but at least I can put them on your radar. There's a whole section here on behavior, focus, and organization with tools like Limit that limit how much time you can spend on distracting websites. You say, like, oh, I'm going to give myself half an hour a day on Reddit or whatever it is. And then it will block you after that if you spend more time on this, try to spend more time on the site than that. There's other tools like Move It. This is a neat tool that gives students wiggle breaks. Basically, you set a timer every 30 minutes, every hour, whatever it is, and it gives them something physical to do. As long as, they can focus between now and then, they know they've got a wiggle break coming up. Other tools, the Tide extension also has a focus timer that encourages you to take time to work on a particular task, but also includes some ambient audio, so you can have the sound of a babbling brook or something like that to help be able to just drown out the other noises around you. And then the last section I have in here is on navigation, tools that can help to be able to move around on a website, whether it's being able to speak to move or to be able to, click on little arrows to scroll up and down if you're having trouble doing so. And then a lot of these also exist as part of the Chrome accessibility tools. If I come down to accessibility, there's some helpful navigation features here. Things like automatic clicks. If a student is having a hard time navigating because they can't press the mouse button or they can't press the trackpad, automatic clicks, you basically just hover above a link and it clicks for you. So if I were to go back here to Dogo News, we'll just open up Dogo News. If I hover above a link and if I don't move my mouse, a little circle goes and boop, it clicks for me. And so basically just by hovering above things, it will now just let it hover, and it goes and it clicks, and now it's going to click and move me back. So that is a nice built-in tool for Chromebooks, the automatic clicks. There are lots of other helpful accessibility tools in there, such as the on-screen keyboard and the large mouse cursor. That's always great for navigation to be able to find your mouse, and many others as well. Well, we are at the end of our time, if we're going to give time for people to easily get to their next session. So as we do start to wrap up, first, I want to say thank you just so much for taking time to hang out with me here for this session. I want to remind you that everything we looked at is at bit.ly/Kurtz-support. You can go into all of those links and check them all out. And of course, contact me if you have questions. Other than that, if you have a question in between, feel free to pop up. I'm going to get set up for my next one. But thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me here. Thanks. And for all my other resources, check out my blog at controlaltachieve.com. And to connect with me, go to bit.ly/CAA-connect, where you'll find all of my social media links, email, newsletter, and more.